Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode. This is our good friend Camie.
I,
Can you believe it? How long has it been?
you know what? Let's see.
10
Oh
years.
my, I think exactly 10 years because I
Has it
feel
been 10
like,
years? Has it been 10
no,
years since we've been on?
Maybe a little less, maybe like 8 years, okay?
yeah, that was a long time because we did for like a year and some change. And I remember like that transition because, like, I know from my end, I started grad school and everything. And then it was
Mhm.
just more like, oh my God, shit, I had to get my shit serious again. But at the same time, I was like, I kind of missed the connection I had, like being able to just like talk about the little things, kind of like what you mentioned earlier, Don.
Mhm.
You're talking as like in front of with your friends, like you're actually socializing and so forth. And I think it's nicest to do it like outside in this like I guess like the Zoom box in a sense, like you're kind of in this like digital world to be able to like talk and so forth rather than just in person. Like it could be transformed that. If that makes sense. I feel like I'm talking a little
No,
bit.
no, no, no. I mean,
Yeah.
again, like, no, you're on point with that. It's,
Mhm.
I think one thing that I like to do, and this is kind of piggybacking off what Gabe does.
Mhm.
I decided to get into photography because I like taking pictures and documenting things. I mean,
Mhm.
back when I was part of PAO, I was taking pictures of things because I wanted people to see what, we were about, what we were doing. Being able to share your life with other people, that's something that, I sometimes get a little shy about. One of the biggest things in my life that I get a little conscious about is my progress. At the same time, you shouldn't be afraid to kind of show what you've been up to.
Mhm.
Your chapter 2 isn't the same as someone's chapter 20. You should never measure yourself in that same vein. And so everyone gets to where they want to be at some point. Some people take a little longer than others. And I've had to be a lot more forgiving for myself of that. This is why we have these moments here where we get to share it with each other and talk about like, what have you been up to? And be proud of that. That's something to be proud of. And I'm really excited to hear what you've been up to again since you started grad school or since graduating grad school and full-fledged teaching. Is that what you've been up to now, Camie?
Yeah. Full-fledged teaching. I think it's my total my teaching career is like about 6 to 7 years. But since I took like a year gap, I would say it's like more like 6 years I've been teaching. After you guys, grad school was just focusing more on like special education. And I thought I had the patience being super empathetic. I think it's just that in New York City, there's like different structures of like special education in the campuses and so forth. One of the main biggest thing was just that I was in a school setting that just didn't fit me. That made me think like, oh my God, if I can't make it or break it in just my first year teaching, what am I gonna do next? So I ended up like taking a break from like grad school, doing the program that I was in. And I kind of went soul searching actually. I don't know what it was, but I felt like a lot of people I knew who was like around my height and like also had like a career change ended up being like flight attendants. And I remember like, I actually did had pretty decent interviews. I had interviews with Delta, I had interviews with United.
Oh shit, you really went
Yeah,
there.
so I think it was just more like I had like the travel bug. I was in that weird situation where I was really traumatized in the school that I was in. But long story short, it was just not really good support in a school that was really low funded. And even though the people would support each other, I just felt like the principal hired me just to be a substitute teacher in the classroom that I was not supposed to be in. Unfortunate on my end, and just because of that, I had like I guess it was, I won't say it's like a midlife crisis, but it kind of led to that in a sense. So it was very tedious from what I remember. And I think obviously I'm short. And you guys know I'm only like 5 feet.
Yeah, you have to
So-
reach to close the fucking cabins.
Yeah. So like that was the only reason why. So like my interviews
Damn.
with United went through. I actually led to like me being like a floor gate person. So essentially like announcing the gates and so forth. So not exactly working in the plane.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted me based like in Newark. And I was just like, okay, cool. But at the same time, I wasn't too sure if I really wanted that. I just kind of like me in that one situation where I was just like, I want to try just to try it. And then what was offered, I was like, I changed my mind. I felt bad kind of doing that. It's a little bit hypocritical, especially in this economy or like this job. Maybe a lot of people needed that job. And I just kind of just said, forget about it. I'm going to say pass.
What do you mean? Then someone else is gonna take it. It's gonna be all
Well,
right.
I know. I know that. I guess like for me, it was just more like, what made me just so interested in doing it. And I realized, oh, maybe I'm just like doing this because I was just on panic. Or I just
Hold on,
want to do
hold on,
something
hold on.
different.
But let me ask you though. Let's just say you weren't
Okay.
based off of Newark, and then you were, it was a little bit more convenient. Would you have gone for it?
I think so. I think it was just also me thinking like, do I really want to gravitate? Do I really want that? Or maybe I just need to do more soul searching.
Have you completely given up on teaching, or are you still teaching?
No, I'm still teaching. So I think it's really a short moment. So that was like, let's see. Started grad school like end of like summer 2017 and transitioned 2018.
Mhm.
Or was it 2018? I'm trying to think of the time frame. I'm messing my time frame up. I'm so sorry.
Couple of years ago.
It was between like 2018 to 2019. Because
Mhm.
2019 spring was when I decided to apply for an actual teaching program that I wanted to do.
Okay, there we go.
I
Okay,
thought about full
cool.
circle. While I was doing my job interviews, a lot of them, it's so funny because a lot of them was like, you have so much experience in teaching. Why didn't you just apply to be a teacher? And I'm like, I don't know. Because I had like the issue trauma from my last school and all these other things. And the DOE is very unforgiving, especially if you left abruptly before the 30-day mark. So it's
Mm.
like,
Say
personally
that
for me,
again?
I just like, so Department of Education.
Yeah.
They penalize people usually if you leave before the 30-day mark of like trying to say your 2 weeks notice and stuff. They usually do a full month notice.
Gotcha. I know that you say that, like, all right, you started questioning your career when you are experiencing this, and then the DOE doesn't, fund them. But when you were there in the trenches, like, what was it like? Like, what were you experiencing there? Like, money is one thing, but like, what were you going through?
I think for me, it was dealing with a population of students that I felt like I didn't have much experience working with. Special ed has like its own like threshold, right?
Yeah.
There's like students who are like in the spectrum. There's
Hmm.
behavior management stuff, and then those other in the spectrum where obviously they depend on you for supporting them.
Of course.
So me, it's more of the behavior, and it was to the point where I almost got physically hurt on the job.
Gotcha.
And so,
Oh, okay.
so in those situations, we get trained as staff to prevent ourselves from getting hurt and so forth. Unfortunately for me, I guess like I was still new and like also these are kids who are like transitioning almost to middle school and they're like almost like taller than me. Well, all the kids I teach are taller than me, but just in general, and they're violent. So
Interesting. Okay.
but that
Okay.
was the
Wow.
reason why. Sorry, maybe I should have been a little more specific. But that was the reason why. That part, I was like, maybe this is not the specific style of teaching. I feel like that takes a lot of like I said, empathy, and also patience to be in that situation. Because like now, I think about my situation now as an educator, where I am working with mostly language learners, predominantly Spanish speaking, but also a lot of them are in situations they can't control. They're immigrants or they are undocumented. Not only we are trained to like have these conversations with our students, but it's also there might be situations where one day they're there and the next day they're gone because they had to. That specific thing is like I guess what made me feel like what I'm doing now or like how I'm helping. I feel like I'm in the right capacity the way I can.
It's a better fit, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
The first time that you were actually experiencing teaching children, were the children always like in need? Like the first time they were like special needs kids, and now you're going
Mhm.
to like, kids who are in unfortunate situations. Have you ever taught just like kids, and I don't mean to sound fucked up, but like regular kids, Like, come on now.
Yeah, I have. That was when
Okay.
I was teaching in New York City, different districts, right? So I taught in 3 different boroughs.
Gotcha.
Then my experience of the ones I have like normal kids or like blacks, me teaching in Manhattan.
Were you always drawn to teaching kids who need special attention?
I don't know. I never really thought of it that way. For example, me as an educator who helps language learners learn English or
Yeah.
support in learning English, I always like helping because it makes me think about me growing up. I was born and raised here, but I also had a speech delay. So I was
Mm-hmm.
exposed to like so many like different I mean, obviously the Filipino language has so much dialects. So I had my Lola and my mom talking in Ilocano. I have my mom, dad, my sister talking in Tagalog, and then all my god siblings and their parents they speak Visaya. And there's little me just engulfing with all those different dialects. I'm like, huh?
Having to
And then
translate between
You
them.
had to basically kind of like take in all of that and figure out how to synthesize and communicate with every different dialect out there.
so yeah, it took me a long time for me to learn Tagalog. And I mean to this day I would say I'm not confident in Tagalog. Like I
Mhm.
understand what people speak to me, like especially my family at home. But if I break into conversation, I'll just say like the little catchphrases your family would say to you at home,
Mm.
Hey, Camie, kain na, nakutulog ka na, blah, blah, blah. But, I would say I'm not like my sister who was born and raised there and then immigrated here when she was like 13, 14, who speaks it like there's no tomorrow perfectly, but still speaks English the way how we speak English,
Does she
growing.
still have an accent though?
No, my sister lost the accent, not our parents. Mom came here in 86. And then my dad and sister came here in 93. And then, bam, I was born.
Like going back a little bit, I think as a fellow creative, there are times where I feel like I need a break from whatever I do. You kind of get lost and a little overwhelmed by what your career, your passions, involve, which I think the best metaphor would be, you ever watch the movie Soul?
No.
Soul pretty much
Good movie.
is about like, a musician who his entire life is music, right? But the premise, and I don't want to spoil it because I'd love for you to watch it, is that you're more than just your passions. And so this is also kind of a discovery for him that he loves music, but he's also more than just that, And so I took that as a creative as like, look, I envelop myself in photo and video stuff all the time. It's literally part of my DNA. What helped you rediscover your love for teaching?
After the whole trying to be a flight attendant, I actually went back and worked in retail for a bit. And I started streaming on Twitch.
Okay.
Did you really?
Did I really? Huh.
No. Honest to God.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
did. I Camie and I had a decent follow. I was like, wow, people like watching me. It's just
How long ago was this?
I think I would have been made 6 years if I still continued.
Wow.
I stopped streaming completely 2021, right as I finished my first year teaching.
On average, how many viewers did you have?
You know what? I would say it just depends on the day. So when I usually stream like early afternoon, like usually when people get off of like school. So I
Yeah.
usually stream like around 2 to like 6. And I
Uh-huh.
would say it started like 4 or 5 people. Then eventually the highest I've seen was like 50 to like 60. But
That's
That's
crazy.
so good.
I wouldn't say that was average. I think average enough, it would be like maybe like 10 to 15.
Hey,
And I think
10,
like
15 is still good. Yeah.
and it's so funny because it's like some of those people I still talk to really closely. Like I traveled to hang out with them, like 3 of them actually. One in Canada and the rest are in London. So usually when I did like those big trips, like even my mom met 2 of them because that's just the relationship and close friendship I had with those people. These are people I met through the internet. Do you want to meet them? And my mom was like, "What? Why?" I'm like, "Trust me, they'll treat us fine." And honestly, they treated my mom like if they were their mom. And it was like really awesome. They like treated us like certain places to see that I think as a person who never visited like their country would go to those places because they
What
suggested
country?
that. England.
England. Damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
Huh. No, dude, because I only ask because there was a video that I saw where this guy retired after having 20 concurrent viewers. And I was like, and he didn't retire, sorry. He went to it full time.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, damn, all right. So if 20 is all right, like what is the number? So that's the only reason I ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like the numbers were low, but I think like as I was like doing it, like I like playing games all the time. The revenue is not that bad, sure, because people will do subs and stuff, but I knew it was not sustainable. And I also miss teaching. But first I was thinking, oh, do I want to work in more the perspective of museums or operations in museums or dive back to teaching, but doing not what I was originally continuing. So I was going to continue the special education program, but I realized like, oh, those experiences maybe are not the ones that I want. So let me do my research and my background. I went to City College actually. They gave me the trajectories. Like, you have such experiences in like art classes, but you also took a lot of like linguistic classes. But you also did like a mix of education classes. Why don't you just go education, but your trajectory is either art or ESL? I'm like, ESL is like, yeah, you took all these language classes. I'm surprised you're not thinking of like being English as a second language. And I'm like, that gave me an aha thing. Travel bug and also interested in teaching English as a second language, teach it abroad. So I applied to like 3 different programs. I did not get past anything with the JET program. I know that's very competitive. They just said, thank you, but next. I'm like, okay, if I can't teach abroad outside, might as well teach in the community that I first started in the Bronx, but also what program seems more sustainable for me instead of going to CUNY. So I applied to different programs. That led me to where I am, teaching in schools who are specializing for language learners. It's called the International Network. And my school is part of that partnership. So yeah,
I'm glad it all worked out.
I feel like when it clicks, it clicks. And I guess that's what led me here. So yeah.
Oh, that's actually really cute.
No, I get it, dude. When I graduated City College, right around the same time with Camie, when did you graduate City?
When we saw Michelle Obama. So
Oh yeah, that was 2020. Well, 2016. God, that was like more like close to 10 years ago. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
You spend so much time in school trying to figure out what you want to do.
Mhm.
You figure out a career that you can graduate with, or at least a degree, and then you're still trying to figure out where you might land and trying everything. I was post City College desperate to take any job. Like I'll be a PA on different sets. At some point, I realized that like I didn't want to work for certain places just because you get in far enough and you get little, I don't know, just it's not really overwhelming. I think you kind of realize this is not where you want to be. And so hearing that you put yourself in different areas and then realize that wasn't your lane and taking the time to kind of navigate it further and eventually find yourself in a lane that is where you want to be is kind of the same story. Like I realized that I wanted to do more video things over the years. Like I still love photography. Photography is still my first love, but I want to focus on video. I want to know everything about that. And that's kind of how it evolved. Like I eventually took up whatever I could in terms of like certain small jobs. Like I was shooting like my cousin's engagement and proposal. And then from there, it like opened up a plethora of opportunities. And still then, that was like back in 2017 until finally where I was able to work in the film field like
Mhm.
for about 4 years, like 2019 to 2023.
You're there for a while.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So, dude, like your journey is something that I can definitely relate to. It takes a while to kind of figure out what you want to do. Even then, as adults, we're still trying to figure it all out. But
Yeah.
hey, look, it's great to see the progress after so many years, and I'm glad that we get to share it with each other. Moving like forward. I mean, we literally were at a wedding together also this year too.
I was thinking about that. Like, when was the last time we all hung out? I was like, oh wait, the barbecue, which I
Mhm.
know you came late because you were on your trip. And
Oh
then
yeah,
I know the day before, Gabe and I we met each other at K Town by accident.
Yes. Yes. That did happen.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was
Yeah.
so coincidental. That was
No, I
insane.
legit was like, I was totally just bald because I have more of a better vision and see things in the surrounding compared to him. And he's like, Cabby, is that? I was like, yes, Gabe. Should we say hi? We should say hi. He's like, I thought you were. And he's like, I thought we are going home. Well, the night's still young. Let's go hang out with Gabe.
Wait, hold on.
No,
Where
that
in
was so
Cape Town were
crazy.
you guys?
Bro, this was fucking right in right on the
August.
block, walking towards Barcode, motherfucker. All right. And I never take that street. I always go across the street and I go, where the shops are, because it's nicer. But for whatever reason, I took this road and I'm bolting. So it was like, look, I mean, think of all the factors that had to lead up to there. But no, that was really, really cute, honest to God.
Me and Jaswal were like, hey, there's Spark Code. That's where we met Gabe and the friend. I was like, do you remember his name? He's like, Ralph? I'm like, yes, that's him. You can't forget Ralph. And he's like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe we'll go there. And we ended up not going there because we got really full from where we ate and then went home. But
Dang.
now we know because I really like the drinks, low key. Like they're really
Uh-huh.
good. Like I'm still
Yes.
thinking about the drink that you had. I don't remember what it was, but it was really sweet and I liked it.
This was the one, I think I remember the day. Exactly. This was the one with the peach candies. So the peach candies. Like, I'm not even sure if they're peach. Some other
I don't know. It
candies.
was sweet. It was good.
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was. It was. I remember that night. I was talking to this white girl next to me. And yes, I remember that night.
Yeah, I do remember. She was very talkative.
She had Baldur's Gate Asterion as her fucking wallpaper.
Oh yeah,
What type of woman is this? You know what I mean? She loved that vampire shit.
as a gamer,
Yeah.
and people wife up like Shadowheart, but there's a huge amount of people who love Asterion. I think he's also a great character too.
So funny you say that because like I was actually in New York Comic Con and also Anime NYC this year.
Mhm.
Comic Con was like a last minute thing. Like
Okay.
I was able I did was right after Anime NYC. I decided to buy tickets last minute for my nephew and just ball. Anime NYC, I kid you not. Every people that I follow on like Instagram and Twitter, they always carry stickers of any of the Boulder Gates character. I don't have my sticker book, but one day I'll show you guys.
How's Anime NYC compared to like New York Comic Con?
So I went on Thursday and Friday, which I feel like has more or less people compared to I guess like New York Comic Con. But I would say it was pretty crowded. There would be moments where it was like slightly like Lion Con, and I was just kind of like the whole time like skimming my way through and all that. And there'd be moments where I'm like holding to Jabal's hands, like, please, I don't want to get separated. Because there was just so much crowd and like just like being around like people. And then there was one moment where, you know how like I guess the running joke or gag is like people don't know how to shower. So I had that experience.
Oh, cosplay BO or just BO in
Yo,
general?
Just EO in general. And it's the first time I had that experience. I kid you not, since like the first Comic Con I went to. And that's like what, 2011.
Wait,
That's a
you've
hot-
never had that like a whiff of it?
It's the number one thing that's killing this shit in the first place. Like all this, what is this? This Smash Bros tournaments and shit, and you know, Comic Con or whatever. The cringiest thing of all is the BO.
Well, dude, so at New York City Comic Con this year, there were like, I don't know if they were just people who were sponsored to do so, but some guy was actually handing out like deodorant sticks to people.
Yeah.
So
oh my god, it's a fucking
it was
problem.
Cool. It was a cool thing because cosplay BO is that you've already decked out in this costume that you took like hours to put like the PVC material on and everything. But because you don't want to
my
like change
God.
out of it because it's so much effort to put it on, you literally stay in that outfit the night before and you go into like Comic Con the next day. So that's what I heard
I
when I
don't give
first
a
got prompted
fuck
for like
about
my
that.
convention.
That needs to not
yeah.
like be okay, fine. It's totally cool that they got the dude from Old Spice to be there to give out fucking Old Spice sticks and shit. But like, okay, for the fact that it is a problem, okay, that's cool that they fixed it. But it should not
Yeah.
be a problem, guys. Like, let's try to hold some type of what is this?
Hygiene.
A little
I
bit of
agree.
hygiene, but some standards, Jesus Christ. Come on.
Yeah,
You're trying to bring your
I-
girl to this shit. You can't bring your girl to this shit because it's stinky. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
I was not the only one who knows that BO. It was going down. So to help describe like where Artist Alley was, Artist Alley is downstairs.
Yeah,
still-
it's downstairs like of Javits Center.
Yeah, instead of like a separate space that was like all the way at the back or something,
Mhm.
like a long time ago. And I kid you not, I whiffed it. Just Paul whiffed it.
RS Alley, the
No,
stinkiest alley, yo. Don't go there.
I know. It was just so overwhelming. It was just going up and down the escalator. It
Oh.
disappeared right after. But still, that's a very like big hub station. So it's like, I don't know.
It's very on par or point with
yeah.
the whole metaphor of being like stuck in the basement because that's where Artist Alley is
I
situated.
know.
So it's literally like it's a little meta that it's actually like situated right over there.
Mhm.
Even in the main like throughway where you're walking and meeting other cosplayers. Yeah, it's still there, man. Look.
Yeah.
Even 2025, bro. You just went like 2 weeks ago. It still stinks?
Yeah,
It
it
still
still stinks.
This is
Yeah.
a major
Basically.
problem.
Yeah, and look, it's probably mostly guys because mostly guys are there, but there are also girls who, again, maybe they're also kind of the same way too. Look, I think it's a problem overall, not specifically isolated just to dudes. You know,
Guys,
cosplaying.
I don't care what sex you are, bro. You should not be stinky at any. That's the number one thing that turns me off. You could be a 10 out of 10. Okay. A 10 out of 10.
Mhm.
And then if you stink, oh shit, I'm out this bitch. There's no way.
I agree with that. I feel like
Right?
if you're like I think I was talking about this with someone. If you like a certain smell of someone or just like their natural odor, it
Ooh.
doesn't seem like stinky to them.
Pheromones.
That means you guys are genetically compatible. Like the people that when I start to get to know someone, if they have one obviously good hygiene, but if they smell nice, I'm like, okay, and the natural
Yeah.
smell smells nice. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll fuck with that. But like still, it's just like the fact that I have this attraction with you, not just like your physical looks or just your personality, but your smell. I feel like it's like bonus points.
It's another level.
Yeah,
Of course.
exactly.
No. But that should not be a reason to be like, yo, I'm not gonna put on no deodorant. Yo, my shorty low gonna
No,
smell me
okay.
for who I am because she loved me. Like, no. Like, I can't even.
No.
There's a certain extent by which they can get by, but look, you know, still hygiene, like shower, clean yourself up, wear some deodorant, like, make yourself look good. I mean, carry yourself the way that you want others to like, see and respect you for,
Mhm.
right?
I
God.
agree, 100%. So you know how like back in the day,
Mm,
Beanie Babies were like a hit, and like
I know
we
where
used
you're
to
gonna take this. Yeah.
do. And this is all my fucking fault because I went to Anime NYC and Comic Con. I got into fucking collecting Labubus
Oh fuck, that's
Just
Gabe's lane.
recently?
That's lane.
just recently.
That's Gabe's lane.
Honestly, don't start
I
because they're on the way down.
I know. I'm capping myself. So I have
Yeah.
this little cutie,
Yeah.
that one, and then I have the cute sitting one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then this is the one that I got. Well, the first one was a gift. The second one I got from at Anime NYC with
Mhm.
my friend. This is the next one I got
Nice.
in New York Comic Con. I'm very happy with this one.
Is that the rare one?
No, I think the rare one's like black and like more rainbowy, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I originally got, I think it was Love. I gave it was like more pinkyish, pinky red. I gave that to my mom because my mom wants a little boo boo. I don't know what she's gonna do
Okay.
with it, but she has it.
She's gonna
And
rock it,
then
and it's okay. It's okay to
she
rock
says
it.
she wants to rock it with her Louis Vuitton. That's what she told me. I'm like,
Uh,
Mom.
uh,
That's kind of flex for her.
Yeah, that's a flex for her apparently.
Yeah.
And then I got like these like newer ones. They're like it's like a the glare of the camera.
Oh, this is like an actual thing, though. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So it's cute. I got it from like this a crane shop in near Union Square. And then I
Mm.
got this potato chip one.
They're actually going to be really, really easier for you to get now compared to when they first came out. Because I'm not sure if you saw online, but like there was this little thing that had the owner who lost like millions, like, like $250
I saw
million
the article.
recently because like it's just the fad has gone away.
Mm.
I remember it was so hard to get a Labubu legit if you went to OMG Mart, right? Or Pop Mart.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
if you did not know the URL trick, there is no fucking way that you are gonna walk out of there with a Labubu. There's like 3 steps to get from in your cart to get the fuck out of there. You 100% got one, right? I went to like step 1, step 2, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 1, step 2. Like I was like at the brink of my ass, like pressing refresh, because I have like mad Labubus. I honestly have like 3 Labubus in my fucking trunk of the car. I just don't
Oh
know
my
what
God.
to do with them. Oh my goodness, man. It was a headache.
No, I can
To
imagine.
get
Yeah.
anything out of the plushies, like those figurines, those are fucking rare. Those are hard to get compared to the plushies. And the plushies are already bad enough.
Like I said, at first I thought they were not legit, but I also know these are the ones that came out before the Halloween one that just came out, I think like last week or something. But I really just wanted the lunchbox. And yeah, so now they're next to our Pip Boy in the living room that holds controllers. So
No,
they
that's
just protect
cool.
things. Yeah, so I have a little spot for them.
Mm.
I knew I'm not going to bring this to work because I know my kids will steal that shit. So
I think you
So
could pull it
nothing.
off though.
I don't know. They have very sticky fingers. I've seen them like steal things on my
Oh,
table.
you're
the
talking
whole
about the
time.
thieves. Okay, yeah. The
Yeah.
thieves, yes.
Ah,
But you could
yeah.
walk
I feel
and pull
like-
it off in the streets.
Very much. So that's why I'm like, I'll leave it there. I'll leave it in my house. Let them be protected here.
How did Labubus get even popular? I feel like I've asked this like all the time, and the only thing I've heard was that Lisa from Blackpink was the reason why like they became like a fad this year. Like she was like wearing Labubus, and it became super popular because of her.
Yeah.
Mm.
Influencer advertising. That is the main reason. They study that now. The guy who made Labubu's been making Labubus for years, if I'm not mistaken. Like at least 8 years before they got hype. So he's been at it. And I guess it's a cool story about him never giving up. But yeah, man. Lisa came out here, rocked it a little bit, said she loved it in the interview. It was over.
I like the Cray Babies more. The one that like the teardrops. one.
Yes. I see more girls rocking that.
I think
The
that's super
crybabies,
cute.
Yeah.
But I don't see it anywhere. So I'm like, okay. I'll eventually get it. But if not, that's cute. April has the one that you could squeeze in and like balloons up. That's a different one, but that one's cute too. But I know it's also from Pop Mart as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I think the ones that you don't hear about, those are the cooler ones. Those are like the ones. Because like
Mhm.
I've always been interested in like high-end fashion brands. I don't own too much of it, but like these high-end fashion brands been here for years. But all of a sudden I'm hearing about it now. Mew Mew. Where the fuck is that shit? The MIU bags and shit. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Yo, those came out of nowhere, but they've been making it for fucking years, and they're not like they just popped off. You know?
It's like the one that starts with the L, the LOW, Lao, lo. I don't know what I'm saying. Right?
I know, but like, see, it's a brand that like was probably doing it for a while, but they're hype as hell, right?
Yeah, I just know like it's like they look like paper bags or something.
It's
They
like
look
I think the
weird.
biggest one was YSL. YSL been doing their shit for years,
Yeah, for
and
years.
and all
Yeah.
of a sudden rappers just started rapping about it, and that was the brand of the year, man. Like, don't fuck around with YSL. But yeah, I
I don't know.
digress.
Nah, it's funny that you guys bring this up because for years I wasn't again into any type of like, well, I won't say fashion trends, but I guess never thinking about like collectibles in that, right? Or like things that I would wear. It's kind of nice to slowly get into these.
What does your shirt
things.
say right now, bro? What is that shirt?
So elder emo is a reference, I guess. I think it refers to just a generation of people who are like into emo music from like like the mid 2000s up until the late 2000s.
Like the goth chicks in high school.
Kind of like that.
Okay.
So it's like if you've been into emo that long, then you're considered like the older or elder emo,
Yeah,
right?
elder
But also,
emo.
I think we've literally sat at the bar kind of discussing what is considered an elder emo like
What?
group, or like for example, is My Chemical Romance considered like an elder emo generation of like,
Hell
emo
yeah.
music, right?
Yeah.
So you do that. Paramore. Here's a nice curveball. Does Sum 41 count in that?
Oh my god, yes.
I would say so, yeah. But I feel like if you know aspects of Sum 41, if you do it at the same level as like Fall Out Boy or My Chemical Romance, I feel like there's a specific era of Sum 41 that fits
exactly.
that niche.
That's
Yeah.
outside of elder emo. That's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
elder.
Yeah, so I feel
Oh
like they
my
have two
God.
there's two different levels
Yeah.
of Sum 41 where like
Okay.
they're the early 2000 punk.
Right. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, where I feel like they sound a little bit more grungier, whereas I feel like older emo music, I think of like as obviously I think of Dead Cat for Cutie, I think of Dashboard Confessional,
Breaking
feel like it's all-
Benjamin.
Breaking Benjamin. Whereas a
Yeah.
lot
I never
of
heard
like
that
these
one.
Breaking Benjamin? Oh
Never
my
Breaking
heard
god.
Benjamin's
that
a big
one.
one. It's a big
But
one.
hold on. This one that you're talking about, the different generational, what would you call it? If not elder emo, it isn't gonna be elder what?
Okay.
Oh.
So
What type of guys are those? You know what I'm saying?
So that again, like I've had this like interesting conversation about it because I asked one group and they said that they think it's referring to just the group of people who've been to emo music that long. I kind of categorize it as music from a specific time frame that is classically emo. And then if you think about rock music prior to that, you have like punk music. Before that, you had grunge. Then right around the same time as elder emo, like here's another one that could kind of count in that like list, right? Where does Linkin Park sit on?
That's like the president of elder emo. Yo.
New metal. Where like
Different genre. They adjusted to the sounds of each generation of music evolving.
If you're a fan of 50 Cent, that's like elder hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you know what I mean? If you're a fan of G Unit, that's an elder hip hop. You know what I mean? That's like an unk. You know what? Like when you call it when you're like past 30 or 28 or whatever, they call you unk. Oh, you're unk now, right?
oh
Like you're the
God.
older generation. Yeah, come on now. You a Ludacris fan? That's you, elder hip hop.
Oh my god, actually that's true. But I also think like Ludacris also have his own specific genres of music too.
He does.
Like
He
Ludacris,
does.
I think of like Kanye, right? Kanye has like his own little like timeline trajectory of his music, how it evolves in
His
a sense,
era.
based on like
Yeah,
his
that's
era.
true. That's true.
And I think like it's so funny because I had this conversation with one friend where they say, "Oh, Kanye was better than you, Kanye." I'm like, no, I think like each Kanye, just kind of like how I feel with Linkin Park, they adjusted based on the time period, what specific sounds they want
like
to produce. Because you know the composer and like the lyric making was mostly Chester, right? So I feel like his perspective and how he thinks kind of helps set the tone as well, how they produce the beats and the music. And I think Shinoda really does like a nice fair play with that.
Linkin Park was a very big part of like my musical life, you know, again, from like the 2000s onward. But, you know, they get a lot of criticism for kind of shifting from like the new metal sound into more of like a popper rock type of like sound. And I remember Chester was like really adamantly defending where he was coming from about this because, you know, he was saying he didn't want to keep on making the same music that he was known for 10 years ago. And as an artist, I think to myself, do I want to be taking the same photos as I did 10 years ago? No, you kind of want to have some form of progression with your art, with the way that you do things. And, I applaud them for having done something different. Like Meteora, that was a huge era. Or like, Hybrid Theory, that's a huge era. But then Minutes to Midnight, and then all of a sudden that song is now synonymous like with Transformers, what I've done. As soon as like you hear that, it's almost very like memeable where you like see the credits roll and you just hear like Chester belting out what I've done. So seeing him kind of change over time and just adapting the music. And I know that people sometimes criticize Linkin Park for having changed its sound, but it's hard, like being able to kind of shift your music. Like I think this is why artists struggle sometimes to stay relevant, is that keeping ahead of like the curve when it comes to like what will be the next trend, what's going to be the next thing that they like really like.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why I like listening to Linkin Park because it's always something different, but they kind of there's some parts of their songs where I feel like, oh, okay, this kind of reminds me of their old stuff, but still they mix it to their new stuff. So I think they meet the middle ground for me. And that's why I'm so like I'm like such a huge fan and like how they produce their music and how they think of their new level and so forth. Even with the new singer, I feel like not a lot of people or like a lot of people are very controversial with her, but I think she sings fine. I think she's awesome with what she's doing right now. I'm looking forward to more songs and music that they produce together. So we'll see.
It's not the first time that a band has had to kind of change their singer. Like Van Halen, is known for that also. Journey, if you think about Journey, there's like
Oh,
Steve
with
Perry
Aaron.
and then there's Arnel Pineda, like a
Yeah.
fellow Filipino who's, I think he's still the front man for the band also. It's tough because when I think about Linkin Park, I'm a big Mike Shinoda fan, by the way, just prefacing this. A huge part of that DNA of the music was Chester. When he passed away and they went on a hiatus, what's the next move? Does the band just simply like dissipate or not do anything after the fact? I don't agree with that. I feel like there's a lot of people ardently defending that they left Chester behind, but at the same time, it's a complicated situation where Chester was going through some things and things happened, and then eventually like the band must move forward, and it's not just him that's part of the band; it's the entire band together. So how do you make that call of like, well, what do we do? So the band wants to move forward, or at least most of the band wants to move forward and either start over in their own way.
Yeah.
I applaud them. I do like the singer. I think she's really great. I know there's some controversy about her being like Scientologist also,
Oh
which,
my God, word.
yes.
It was
She's
pretty
hanging
big,
out
I
with Tom
remember.
Cruise.
If you know anything about the Scientologists, there's again controversy regarding some things that they've done. Even Chester's son was basically going after the band and Mike for like saying like, you spit on like my father's like legacy and yada yada. And it's like, okay, first off, kid, you're his son, you're not Chester, and so it's unfair for you to do that.
Yeah.
I think if they had jumped in immediately after Chester passed away, that's pretty disrespectful. But they took time. They took
It took a while.
really tried figuring out what they wanted to do. And I applaud them. Whether or not they'll reach the same heights as they used to be, I think that's a tough question to answer, but they're trying. And I got to admire the hustle for them trying to like push forward despite adversity, despite tragedy.
I think at the end of the day, it's like especially if as creators or people who love music, I feel like if they still want to create something could continue on, they should. Everyone has the musical freedom to do so.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's come to that point of the show, the end of the show, before we wrap up. The question of the week. Don, Camie, are you ready?
Sure.
Yeah.
I love where I come from, but it's starting to feel small. Lately, every time I visit, it feels like I don't fit in anymore. The same people still go to the same bars, talk about the same drama, and do the same things they've been doing for all these years. How do you know when you've outgrown your hometown?
That's a heavy and layered question there. Huh. I feel like the answer's in front of you already. You've probably moved away and spent enough time being at that place to add so much more to your life that isn't just simply that anymore. From what I hear, part of you remembers certain things from your past. You're anchored to that. And at the same time, you see people that are still kind of talking about that. And, when you grow up, you're thinking about the next move and every move forward, and seeing people kind of clung on to older ideas is going to be something that you don't want to dwell, on. Look, time for me is like so important. Time is the most important thing I can give people. And if people are kind of stuck in an element of the past, if I'm over it, then I don't really want to keep on being there. So based off what it sounds like, I feel like you've moved forward already. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame in feeling that you're past certain things in your life. It's okay. People outgrow things all the time. And being honest with yourself about that is very important. So don't feel shame in that you feel like you're over it. I think in certain extents, maybe it's nice to kind of revisit that, but we're always changing, we're always moving forward. I think, kind of rounding it out from our early conversations today, a lot of it has been trying new things, changing, moving forward, growing. Growing up is a very big part of our lives. And so no shame in it. I think the answer is right in front of you, that you have outgrown your hometown, and maybe someday you'll feel differently. That's something that is also open to changing too. But, for now, it seems to be that you've moved forward.
Like I think of the Bronx, for example, like where I grew up, and like the different speckles of like the neighborhoods I've been in. And I think like whatever your past kind of molds you to the person you are today. Like sure you have like your, I guess like past mistakes, or like things that maybe that you feel like that anchored you in a way that might maybe not be as like positive, is more like a negative impact. Your new experiences that you decide to like explore or challenge yourself, I think helps you break away from that kind of like anchored. So I think like you think of your past as a way to reflect how your future is now. Your future is now, but it could be unpredictable, it could be exciting, it could be scary. But I think that's the part about life, I guess, right? You get to experience these new changes. I think it's okay to reminisce about the past. Just think about now how your past helps you be the person you are today. And I think that what matters. I kind of think of our early conversations, we all saw each other and like in our own like I guess like perspectives, or how we were before younger, like almost like 10 years, 8 years, right? We all have different lives, but we still find ourselves to like come back and be like a community and have these kind of conversations, which I think's really cool in a sense. So it makes me like oh giggly because I miss doing this. uh,
It's been a while, right?
yeah, and like it's like exciting in a way where I'm like, oh, it's nice. It's just nice to like hear how everyone else's perspective is, but at the same time, it's like cool to like kind of like take that new knowledge and just like see how else you could also spread that knowledge around as well.
When you ask the question, how do you know if you've outgrown your hometown? I think if you submit your question to us and are having these feelings, you kind of know already. I think about almost how it feels to outgrow anything, right? Not just your hometown, but the people who are you with, and like all these things and things that don't serve you. And for as much as it hurts me that like, okay, I don't get to see such and such person, right? And I have a person in mind, Lord mercy. And it's going to sound a little fucked up, but if they don't level up, you're going to eventually get this feeling within yourself that's going to want you to move away from that. I know it's a tough, tough thing for people to do. And it's like, I'm not doing a very, very good job in answering the question. But, you let go of things that don't serve you anymore, that don't make you as happy. When you go to the bar, right? And it used to be the most funnest thing that you could do in the week. And it just doesn't feel the same. Is it okay to feel that way? Absolutely. It is okay to feel like you've outgrown it. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Hits me in the
yeah.
feels a little bit where I can't really answer the question right.
I think, reflecting on it a little bit more is, do you, well, not you, Gabe, but more like, rhetorical to the person, right? Do you feel that kind of revisiting something of the past is painful, or it's like something that ties you down because you feel like you're reverting back to something? And, there are places that kind of feel like that, City College, I spent so much time there, and then to kind of go back there feeling like, oh, this is my old stomping grounds, but also like, oh man, like I spent a lot of days like doing a lot of nothing, doing a lot of other things, but also maybe not things that were productive. If you look at it through the lens of feeling like it was a place that you weren't able to kind of grow or progress, and then you finally escape that void or that hole, is I think one way to kind of look at it. And then to revisit it kind of gives you this almost anxiety of like, wow, like I feel like this is a place that kind of just brings me down. That's understandable. I feel that sometimes, again, if I were to go back to City College, you'd be like, I spent so much time here. Oh God, I spent so much time here. But, that's a place that kind of defined me. I think I spent some of my most trying moments and a lot of my growing up there. And so when you anchor it as something that's kind of like, oh, it's a place that tied me down, it's going to feel that way. But I like to think about it on a reflective sense of like, well, that's a place that also gave me a lot of character, that I broke out of my shell, that, I spent a lot of hours not being as productive as I'd like to be, but I spent a lot of time that ended up being valuable and paid off in the end. And so it's easy for me to say this, but in execution, I do like to come back to places and look at it with some fondness, that this is a place that I spent so much time at. I don't think it's my place anymore, but coming back once in a while is a place that makes me feel that it reminds me of where I came from, and to think of it reverently in that sense of like, well, that's how I grew. That's where I grew up.
It's so funny because I resonate for both of you guys. I think of it as more of how I think of like me phases in my life. Big highlights, I guess I would say. Me graduating high school, me ending like my long-term like significant other, to like entering City College, where I got to experience all these different people, figuring what's Camie, what's me, because I was so used to just being so head and revolve like the first person that I loved, where I didn't know what I liked, like what's my interest. So it was kind of like me like self-discovering myself, but at the same time still remembering, oh, this is me. Remembering the old me is like really hard, because I feel like sorry if it goes a little dark, but it's more like I never see myself to like growing up to be 30, because I always had like these like really like self-doubts about like my own thoughts and my well-being, where seeing how reflecting how I am now through all like the troublesome things and challenging things I had in my past, I'm like, wow, I was able to kind of like outgrow myself and like my hometown, because I got to experience the experiences I chose that I knew I wanted to do for myself. And I felt like I became more selfish for myself, because I feel like I'm such a people pleaser. It's nice to know that like I'm grateful where I am. And at the same time, my past will always be there, but I know it's not going to anchor me down anymore.
There's a metaphor about like swinging through a forest, right?
Mhm.
From one of my like favorite creators from way back when. And he said that like, look, when you're trying to move forward and you're like swinging through a forest, the vine you're on is very comfortable. But in order for you to move forward, you kind of have to like let go of this vine to grab the other vine. And you don't know again if that other vine is stable, but you kind of have to place faith in yourself that because you want to move forward, you have to grab that vine and kind of give up where you're at. And that's okay. You should be selfish about yourself and where you want to be at in life. I think about me then and me now, and me that's still consistent. But there are things about myself that sometimes I'm like, man, he really brooded about things all the time. But thinking about those versions of myself and where I came from and the place I used to be at, it's a beautiful thing. Sometimes somber and sometimes sad, but I like to think of it more as like just that's parts of my book that I'm writing, and it's a chapter that I'd be happy to revisit someday and reclaim it for myself.
No, I agree.
Camie, dude, thank you again for joining us on this episode of the Dual Cast.
Yeah.
Anything to shout out? Do you have things that you want to talk about, or like things going on for you now or in the upcoming year or years? What's going on with you?
Yes.
You guys know I engage. It's been.
Yes, I got your fucking.
You got it?
I got
have
the
it,
invite
girl.
also. It's over
Let's
there. I gotta
go.
grab it. It might be over here, actually. Hold on. Yes, I got it right here.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yo, flip the fucking address, bro. Don't show them your address. You crazy? What the fuck, dude?
Why are you trying to dox me? Dang.
Oh my god.
No. Okay, we're gonna cut that out of the episode. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, don't worry. You're gonna see. It's right there.
Right there. Oh man, we're so happy. We're excited.
Official like invitation will be sent next year. I just wanted to send the save the dates. I'm like, just in case you guys have
Okay.
plans
Come
ahead.
on,
But I
let me see the
ended.
details right quick. Let me see the details. I really want to find out. The West Indian party, is that like the men get to dress up in the beautiful, what is that?
Oh, so we are not doing a religious ceremony just
That's a
because
religious
like
thing? I don't know anything about that. I just know that it is a beautiful shirt.
it's like kind of like the Barong Tagalog. It's like similar material with it, but it's not made of piñas. They're I think I forgot what's the actual material they make. They call it kurtos. And
Curtas,
they
no
are
curtas?
Mhm.
yeah. No
No
kurtas.
curtas.
But
Okay, I'm playing.
every you're fine. But there is a little surprise, but I'm not gonna say anything. You guys will find
Okay.
out the
I'm
wedding.
excited. I'm excited. It's going to be a toga party. Let's
Oh my
go. Let's go.
I'm done.
Stupid.
I don't know, but it's gonna be there's some twist, nothing too crazy. Don't worry
Let's
about
go. I'm so excited for you, man.
Dude,
Thanks.
I'm excited and can't
Yep.
wait to hear all the details, like, when they come out. But
it. Yeah.
all right, guys, thank you all for tuning into this episode of the Dualcast. Glad to have Camie on again for an episode, and we'd love to have you back in. Be sure to check us out on our socials. Again, we are on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, and we'll see you at the next episode.
Bye.